Night had fallen. The city was still alive, glowing with countless lights, but none of them could reach the corner where Mira sat, on the cold steps of an abandoned train station. Beside her was a worn canvas bag containing a few clothes and a small photo of her daughter, Anna, 7 years old, smiling with missing baby teeth. Mira stared at the photo until her vision blurred. "I'm sorry, my love. I'm so sorry," she whispered, her voice trembling through tears. Not long ago, she had a family, a husband, an engineer, kind and quiet, and their little Anna. They lived in a small apartment on the city's edge, poor but happy, until one afternoon a car accident took them both. Mira survived, but something inside her did not. She sold everything, quit her job, and drifted from place to place. At first, she stayed in bed all day, staring at the ceiling. Then came the drinking, the nights she wished not to wake again. Once, she had been a woman of faith. She had taught Anna to pray each night. "Dear Father, keep us safe and warm." Now she couldn't say those words anymore. She hated God and herself even more. One gray afternoon, Mira sat in a cheap coffee shop, staring at the crowd outside, people with purpose, moving like waves. The TV behind the counter played the news: war, disaster, hunger. She laughed bitterly. "God, if you're real, you must be too busy to hear someone like me." The old barista, wiping glasses nearby, glanced up. He didn't argue. When Mira stood to leave, he spoke softly. Sometimes God is silent because he's listening. Mira froze for a moment, then shook her head and left. She didn't believe that anymore. That night, she returned to the train station where she usually slept. The rain came down harder, cold and steady. A homeless man shuffled toward her, holding out a thin blanket. "Here, take this." "No, you keep it," she said quietly. "I've got two," he replied, smiling. "And you don't look used to the cold." She hesitated, then accepted it. The man's smile lingered in her mind long after he disappeared into the rain. For the first time in months, Mira whispered, "Thank you." From above, an old flickering streetlight cast a soft glow around her. It looked fragile, ready to die out at any moment. And yet, it did not. The next morning, Mira found a small piece of paper tucked into her bag. On it, written in rough handwriting, "Sometimes God sends help in shapes we don't expect. Don't be afraid of the light. It still seeks you, even when you hide." There was no signature, only a small cross sketched at the bottom with a piece of charcoal. She held the note tightly, her hands shaking. Who had left it? The man from last night? Someone else? She sat there for a long while, staring at the sky. The clouds were still gray, but between them, a single ray of sunlight pierced through, landing right where she sat. Days passed. Mira began to notice little things. A child waving at her, a stranger offering her food, a woman sharing an umbrella. The world still hurt, but it wasn't entirely cruel. One evening, she wandered through a poor neighborhood and saw an old church at the corner. Its door was open. Sunlight filtered through the stained glass windows, scattering colors across the floor. She hesitated, then stepped inside. A young priest was cleaning the altar. He looked up, smiled kindly. "Would you like to pray?" "I don't know how anymore," she murmured. "That's all right. I can pray for you."
He asked no questions. Mira sat at the last pew, eyes fixed on the crucifix bathed in golden light. If you can still hear me, show me one reason to keep living. There was no voice, only a faint breeze that made the nearest candle flicker higher, its flame glowing softly against her tears.
Weeks turned into months. Mira found a job at a small cafe near the church. She cleaned tables, served coffee, helped those in need. Life was still hard, but for the first time, it felt alive. One stormy night, as she prepared to close, she heard a baby crying outside. Opening the door, she found a young woman soaked in rain, holding a feverish infant. "Please, help me. My baby. He's burning up." Mira pulled them inside, wrapped the baby in dry towels, called the ambulance, and stayed until they left safely. Before leaving, the woman grabbed her hand. "You're like an angel." Mira smiled faintly. "No, God just wanted to be sure you weren't alone." When she stepped outside, the rain had stopped. Each drop on the pavement reflected the streetlights like stars. She looked up at the cloudy sky and saw a pale moon breaking through the darkness. Years passed. Mira now ran the church's small charity center, feeding the homeless, teaching orphaned children, helping single mothers. Everyone knew her for her gentle smile and the quiet warmth she carried. One late evening, she walked home through the same old street where she had once cried under the rain. The same streetlight still flickered above her, but tonight it seemed softer, warmer, alive. She looked up. "You never left me, did you?" A soft wind brushed her hair, and for a moment she saw a faint white silhouette in the distance, a man standing in the glow, smiling. She smiled back, tears glimmering under the light. The story of Mira spread quietly among the churchgoers, the woman who had once lost everything, yet found God again through compassion. And those who met her swore that when she smiled, the whole room seemed brighter.